Hello and welcome. I'm Andy Jones, and today I'm going to be reviewing Dimash Kudaibergen's cover of Lara Fabian's version of Adagio. And this is the second in a series of four Adagio reviews, the first being Lara's performance, the next one being Floor Jansen's performance, the vocalist from Nightwish, and the final fourth one being Lara Fabian's Italian rendition of Adagio. And that fourth video will be up on my Patreon channel, which you can see linked here at the top of the screen early next week. So if that sounds interesting to you, if you'd like to see my review of the Italian performance, as well as a bunch of other bonus reviews and live performances and demo songs and outtake videos and live streams, and generally early access to all of my videos, have a look at my Patreon channel. It's a very affordable, and there's a lot on offer for your euro or €5 depending on the plan that you choose. So if you enjoy my videos and you'd like to see more of this, that's one option. Another option that costs nothing is simply hitting the subscribe button. And that, of course, really helps me because I'm aiming to get up to 1,000 subscribers quite soon, because then I can use YouTube's community features and stay in contact better with you and do some polls that I'm currently having to run through my Instagram channel, which you can also connect with by connecting with Andy Jones Official on Instagram and taking part in the polls there. But of course, I'm aiming to have better functionality here on YouTube, so every subscriber counts there. Also, hit the bell if you'd like to join me in the live chat when we premiere the videos. Then you can hit that bell and you'll get the notifications so that you know when to join me online. But for the moment, let's look at Dimash. Now, Dimash comes from Kazakhstan. I know he has a huge vocal range. I've seen quite a few of his performances, including this one. And I know that Dimash basically gained a lot of prominence internationally by taking part in this show, The Singer, in China, which is a similar kind of show to The Voice or The X Factor, I guess. And subsequently went on to participate and then actually drop out of a show called The World's Greatest. So he's an interesting character and a fantastic vocalist, and I'm told he actually also arranges his backing tracks himself, which, if that is true, is a very commendable feat, because he has fantastic backing tracks, which we'll talk about in a moment when we watch the video. But for now, let me just mention finally that this is a review video and not a reaction, so you're not going to see huge sensational reactions to things because I've already seen this. But rather, you're going to hear from me why the performance is wonderful, why the arrangement is great, and perhaps that'll just answer some questions for you about why you really enjoy watching this performance of the song, if you do, which I'm sure most of you do. That's why you're here, right? So, if you are here from the Dias and you're just getting to know me for the first time, please do let me know if I get anything wrong, and I will happily put it right. Okay, so looking forward to this. Hope you enjoy it with me. This is Dimash singing Adagio. Let's do this.
I don't know where to find you. I don't know how to reach you. I hear your voice in the way. I feel you under my skin. Within my heart and my soul, I wait for you.
Okay, so already at the start there, firstly you get a feeling for his range. You don't hear all of it, but you hear him jumping up an octave from one line to the next. You also hear a lot of vibrato in his voice. There's a lot of pathos being delivered in what he's singing. And of course, he's not singing in his first language. It's a challenge to sing something so technically proficient in a different language as well, in a highly pressured live setting like this one. and he's doing a great job already. And, you know, optically, love the suit. Love the suit. I'm not much of a suit wearer myself, you can probably tell, but yeah, I mean, great image as well, along with the, you know, he's kind of really modernizing the song, actually, because it's a song from the late 90s, and he's really bringing it into the modern age, which you'll, I guess, hear more of as the song progresses. But yeah, lovely emotional start to the song. Okay. Okay, before we get into the next step here, you see you hear in the background, there's also some kind of hints of beats there, which means, I mean, he's using a live band here, you know, they're playing with a live band, but there seems to be kind of a backing track going on there with a couple of electronic elements to it, which is what I was talking about also with kind of dragging this into the present musical age, that music these days, you know, is a lot more electronically connected, I think, and this shows that, right? This demonstrates that. Again, though, lovely integration of the string parts there. And you see now he's up from the piano. He's moving more towards his performance side of things rather than the musical proficiency on the piano. But, you know, his vocals stay exactly as they were before, fantastically delivered. And, you know, I mean, I'm also a language instructor, so I have a slightly different perspective to this, and I noticed that there's some areas of pronunciation he's struggling with a little bit, but at the same time, you know, he's very young. He's starting out on his music career internationally at this point, and, you know, for his stage in both his language development and his musical development, he's doing massively well. So when I say struggling with a couple of pronunciation things, this is not a point of critique. This is just something that I'm observing, and I think, you know, with the right training, he would easily get these sounds right. In fact, I've seen a couple of later performances where it sounds like it's become easier for him. So perhaps he is working with some kind of vocal coach or language coach that's helping him just tidy up those problem sounds that will make it more fluent for him to sing, and thereby make it easier for him to sing as well. So don't take that as critique. I'm simply telling you what I notice, and I believe that, you know, kind of just rounding off those little pronunciation edges would make it actually easier for him to sing as well. I noticed that when I tried to sing in German, it's much harder to sing in German than it is in English, which is why I've only ever released one German song. It's not easy to sing in a different language, and particularly if you come from a native language that's very different to the one you're trying to sing in. So massive respect for him for singing in so many languages as well. He sings in other languages too. So he's doing very, very well here. Okay, let's carry on. You'll be my heart's Adagio. Close my eyes and then away. But it won't be too bad. I grow so cold. I was sad. Nothing more to explain. I know I've got Now here, I mean, the emotional build-up's kind of the same as in Lara Fabian's version, but he is making more of a rock version out of it at this stage already, because the drums are pushing up the intensity, doing more fills. It's kind of stronger, harder drum beat than the electronic beat that we had, or the electronic drum kit that we had in Lara Fabian's version. So he is pushing the intensity level more now at this stage than in her version, but still, it's the same building blocks of the song. And he's using quite an operatic style at the beginning of that segment, more like this kind of curbing to create this operatic effect. And I believe his mother is an opera singer, and this is how he started learning to kind of really push his boundaries at quite a young age. So it's understandable that he kind of sometimes moves into the more operatic direction as well. Excellent. And he, like Lara in the last video, I mentioned that she also places very strong emphasis on particular words. And he's doing the same. You know, I thought, I've come so far, and here he says so hard, whereas Lara emphasizes the so hard. Very slight differences in choice there, but nothing that really kind of distracts too much from how the song's progressing. So just little strategic differences, but like I said, the building blocks of where the performance is going are kind of the same, slightly different vocal techniques, but wonderful. Really, really good. Okay, let's carry on. What I also like, by the way, just I noticed here this lady on the screen, I do quite like that they're also kind of blending in the reactions of the other contestants and the hosts and the audience on the show, something that not a lot of these kind of shows seem to do. So you've got the other contestants backstage also reacting while the contestant on the stage is singing, which I quite like. So, okay, let's carry on. Operatic again. We got to talk about that bit first. And I think we may have to go back a couple of times. I don't know. Where do we start with that? Firstly, I mean, just those reactions in the backstage area speak for themselves, right? Everything from complete confusion as to how is he managing to do this, to wow, absolute amazement, to just really enjoying it. And I think all of those emotions come in at the same time for some of us, right? This guy's got skills, but he's not just got skills, he's got the ability to put them forward so emotionally that you connect to what he's singing as well as just enjoying the technique. So he's an incredibly good storytelling vocalist. He's really pushing the emotions forward with his performance, you know, getting down to his knees already. He's incredibly talented and a skilled performer. So I guess we're to talk about that really long note there, right? This forever you'll stay. And here again, he has a slightly different strategy to Lara Fabian. Lara sings forever you'll stay and just holds the stay on for a really long time. He instead sings forever you'll and then takes a little breath and does the stay. And instead of doing kind of the vocalizing that Lara does, so taking a breath and then building up that vocalized section afterwards, Dimash takes the breath earlier, so after the yawl, but instead he holds the stay even longer and just builds it up by going up note by note. So not as complex technically, but wow, you know, the length of the note and the emotional build-up with every note that he moves up, he pushes it harder. And, you know, I mentioned the curbing and the operatic effect before. What's really interesting here is that sometimes even within the same word, Dimash starts a word in this operatic curbing style, but in the middle of the word, he flips it over and turns it into a more kind of neutral belt, which that's hard to do. That's really hard to do. Only a really accomplished vocalist would be able to do that. So, you know, we've got someone who's really in tune with his voice and how to use it. So, yeah, astounding. Okay, we're going to go back and watch this again. Okay, there's just so much in that part, so we're going to go back and watch it again in a minute because I have more to tell you. You know, I really should just kind of take a bunch of notes, but that stops me from watching the video. So two things that I noticed here, and one of them is the language instructor in me talking here, and this may be something that's just helpful to you if you're singing as well, or even just speaking the language and trying to figure out how to get it more smooth. One thing that he's struggling with a little bit in terms of pronunciation in this video, which I believe has changed a little bit since then in other performances, is his THs. And this is quite a difficult sound to form if you're if you're not very familiar with the language that you're speaking. Whereas we would make this v sound as native speakers by putting our tongues between our teeth. So that, for example, being one of the words that he's struggling to sing a bit there. He's getting around it by singing a Z sound, so singing zat. So he's singing zat. And what happens there to kind of misplace that sound? Your tongue is stuck behind your teeth. So to make this zzz, the tongue's up behind the top teeth. So he's singing zat, you'll hear my heart, and so on. The way to get around that, it's actually quite a simple trick if you know it and if you practice it long enough. But if you don't know the trick, then you're never going to kind of get to that automatically. So from moving your tongue behind your teeth and sticking it between your teeth, and that is how you get that sound. So just sticking your tongue out a little bit, that, and then pulling it back into your mouth when you continue the word. So that's one trick. If you get the hang of that, it becomes much easier to sing that phrasing and have it sound natural. So, and it happens in quite a few words. So, and again, this is not a critique at all. This is just something that would actually help a vocalist to get a more fluent and authentic flow to the language as they're singing it. So, and of course, sticking your tongue out a little bit is something you can do in advance of the line. So that and it makes it easier to get that flow then and to get that momentum. So that's something, if I were looking for one thing in terms of the kind of delivery to work on, that would be it. But again, it works beautifully without it. It's just something that I think could help. And, in later performances, I believe that has improved a little bit. So I'm sure he's probably been working with someone to help train some of these sounds that have been difficult to produce for him. But again, at his age, with that musical level of talent, this is a very minor thing, and it's just something that I think would help. Okay, and the other thing I really wanted to mention is when he gets into that really long note, one beautiful addition in this version of the song is that choir in the background singing the "I don't know where to find you, I don't know how to reach you," the first two lines of the song. They're singing it with a lot of pressure and intensity as well, so it's a huge emotional buildup of the track. So I'll play it back one more time and just listen out for those two things, for those THs and also for that choir coming in. Beautiful. And then we'll watch it right through to the end, okay? Unbelievable. And we've got more to talk about here, so we may hear this ending a couple more times. But I hope you noticed those things. I was talking about the choir, and then in the last part of the song, hear those THs again. Yeah, but wow, let's just talk about this guy's vocal range again. When he does those that long notes, he goes up into his falsetto, of course, and that he can kind of sing that high with that amount of strength. There's not many male vocalists that can do that. In fact, I would dare to say there's not many vocalists at all that can do that, but with that strength. There's people like Ian Gillan back in the 70s when he was at his vocal prime, he could do that then. Steve Balsamo, if you check out my review of his performance of Gethsemane from Jesus Christ Superstar, he can do that. There's not many, though. There are some, and there's probably some that aren't on my radar around the world, but there's really not that many. In terms of the kind of total number of singers and who can do that, there's not a lot. So as we get into that emotional part at the end, very high notes, very strong, very emotional, and the timing again is fantastic. And we know that he has to be working with kind of like a click track, or the band does at least, on their ears, so they can stay in time there, because at the end you also hear the kind of hi-hat cymbal counting him in to do this long final adagio at the end. So that he can kind of tailor his vocal movements to the rest of the band that he can't see because they're quite far behind him. So you can't just do all that from feeling. There's definitely some kind of click track at least that they're playing to, so that those electronic beats can come in as well. But that's again not a detraction from anything. That's just well prepared professional music playing on stage. So there's a couple of things, again, just little details that I noticed that I really enjoyed. When he sang That You Believe at the end, there's that dum-dum that everyone's playing, and just in between that and the next line, the Make Me Believe, you just hear one tiny detail, and that is that the bass guitar just does a little slide going down. Again, if you're not really kind of tuned into what's happening, you won't necessarily notice that if you're not reviewing it like I am. But that's just one little detail that I noticed that was beautiful, the way that bass just kind of went in between the lines. And then finally, of course, the added detail at the end that you don't have in Lara's version, that he's doing just kind of ramp it up a little bit further in his performance, is that last falsetto vocal trill ended with that final, really, really high note that he holds for quite a long time as well. So that shows, again, the range, again, his ability to adapt his performance a little bit, to add something just to go next level on it, to show what he can do on this TV program. And again, beautifully designed, orchestrated, planned, and pretty much faultless performance in terms of his vocal ability. So, and he's got the audience with him, you can see that. And of course, he's also not from China, so he's coming as a foreign contestant on this show. And he's really won the audience over, you can tell that straight away. So yeah, I want to take us back and watch that final part again and just see if you notice those things that I've been telling you just now. So again, massive respect in terms of their ability to keep all that in time. I hope you notice those things. And again, just that last little detail at the end with the piano as well. That's not something you hear in Lara's version. Just those last notes and the way that the piano is there in the mix, making it a very strong component of the outro of the song. Yeah, fantastic. Right then. I think I've got through everything that I noticed and needed to tell you about this. Like you see, there's a lot of kind of performance choices and stylistic choices that differ a little bit from version to version. But as I said before, the mechanics of the song are basically the same. It's the same kind of performance, it's just been rocked up a little bit more here. And Dimash, you know, he's the kind of vocalist I could easily imagine in Jesus Christ Superstar, in some kind of rock opera. And I know there's lots of other songs that he's sung in this style as well. So, I mean, this singer is going to go places. I mean, he's already going places, but yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit with this guy, right? Okay, I think I've got through everything, so let's just have a little closing chat at the end here. Okay, that was my review of Dimash's performance of Adagio. And like I said, this is performance 2 out of 4 of Adagio that I'm looking at in the coming days. Lara Fabian is already on my channel. Floor Jansen will be very soon. And on the Patreon channel, you'll see Lara's Italian performance very soon as well. So do have a look at those too. And if you are one of Dimash's dears, which I guess I am too because I'm a fan, and I've really enjoyed watching his performances, if there are any further songs by Dimash or performances by Dimash of other people's songs that you would like to see me review here on the channel, don't be scared, use the comments, let me know about it, and I will get them on my list. I'm not doing reactions just yet, but as soon as I hit 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube, that's the next thing on my list, so you can happily also put suggestions for reactions here in the comments. And of course, the last thing that I would ask of you is to hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed this and you'd like to see more, because that will help me get up to that figure of 1,000 so I can do more for you, and I can use the community features and then add reactions to my repertoire here on the channel as well. Okay, folks, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, bye-bye.